Israel, it's me, Red Planet, coming to you once again with another video. We're going to listen to Woodward TV speak about AI. This is fair use, Woodward TV. Let's get into the video.
So in the book of Enoch, the original word for watcher is the Hebrew term Arim, which translates to watcher, guardian, or one who is awake. Now this term refers to a class of angelic beings who were posted, just like you would be positioned as a guard or a soldier for duty. And they were positioned to observe humanity and act as overseers. Now, much like the event that took place in the Garden of Eden, they may have been misled by that same entity, because there was the motive to ruin the human bloodline with Nephilim and prevent the birth of Christ. So people may interpret that differently, but I say that because in the end, it all came down to one family of humans. Everyone else was not going to multiply anymore. But they did make the decision to take human women as wives, which led to the birth of the Nephilim. And they also taught humans forbidden knowledge, such as the arts of war, sorcery, and astrology. Acts that are portrayed as corrupting human society. The root of the word, Arim, that's their role as beings who are awake or vigilant. There is a constant awareness and watchfulness. Biblically, watchers are described as heavenly beings who deliver divine decrees. Metallurgy, weapon making, cosmetics and ornamentation, astrology and divination, herbalism and medicine, occult, and magical practices. I guess they would call these things gifts, or our curse.
So those were the, I don't want to say gift, but that's what they were. No, I'm not going to say gift. Those with the fallen angels or the watchers had. They had that. And when they fell, this is what they taught the women and men that was on the earth. Sorcery and enchantment, beauty of eyelids, weapons of swords and breastplates. They taught them all that. And how to use the weapons as weapons of war, Israel.
Of your ex-boyfriends died. Sure, a few of my exes are dead.
So what you will find is that a lot of this stuff has to do with magic, right? The components for wars, beauty, lust, fighting over that lust, healing and death. Well, mostly death. They were not just teaching how to prepare herbs for healing. They taught how to smite the child in the womb. They taught women witchcraft. Now, the gifting part might be in reference to certain technological advancements. I don't think they ever stopped influencing humans to make scientific and technological breakthroughs, even with the sacrifice of ethics. Whenever they talk about UFOs crashing, do you think those are accidents? Or is that their way of giving us or gifting us technology? Don't you all find it strange?
But their information on what they knew was way far advanced than what we know now. Because they knew so much. Stuff that we really wasn't supposed to know. But the Creator didn't want us to know. They taught the women on how to do all sorts of things and taught men war. They taught them war. Far advanced than what we know right now. Because they were the angels. And a lot of stuff they knew.
That electrical circuitry is often constructed with magically symbolic components. Why are the symbols that are placed on and inside electronics the same symbols we find used in magic? If you were to take your cell phone back to the 17th century European witch craze, they would convict you of witchcraft. Definitely. There are symbols all over that thing. And you couldn't convince them otherwise because they know what the symbols are. They're witch symbols. You know, the number one reason any person does witchcraft is because they are looking for information. They want to know something. And you can look at different cultures around the world. Nobody really disagrees that some ancient technologies came from non-human entities. When it comes to their respective stories of creation. And all this stuff is leading us to a predicted sci-fi dystopian future with dirty, dusty robots walking around. Abandoned robots with no legs begging for help. Robots. If we get to that point, ladies and gentlemen, we can't get to that point. Can you imagine a robot working for a company? Then that robot starts demanding that it get paid money so that it can buy an apartment and go home? You guys think I'm joking, huh? How close do you think we'll get to that? Because right now it's just around the corner. When I was a kid, I used to read books about robots and androids. I used to see them in movies and TV. It was make-believe. Isn't it amazing how people can imagine something and make it a reality later on? Now that, I believe, is God's gift. In case of the Watchers, it doesn't really matter if everything they taught man would be wiped out in a cataclysm, because they could bring it all back. Can you imagine a world with humans and giants? Not just giants, but giants and monsters. I can imagine that this would be a focus of every living being on the planet. How could you live a normal life in that world? It would be like living in one of those fantasy movies, but worse. It's worse because you actually have to live in it. But I guess at the same time, many people would have been born into that environment, so it would probably seem to be perfectly normal to have giants and dragons running around. And when it comes to certain people on this planet, that certainly is what we do have. What about AI? How did they crack the code? How did they come upon AI? Granted, we've had these programs around for a long time, but we've gotten to a point where we talk about AI as if we have arrived. Some people think spirits or fallen angels may be behind this technology, or they have special access to this technology that we don't have or couldn't dream of having. Take a look at this. AI is summoning demons. Elon Musk, one of the most talked about names in the tech world, is warning us that we should be careful with artificial intelligence, as it might summon the demon. Leg's company, DeepMind, works to develop AI and was purchased by Google in 2011. Following the acquisition, Google set up an ethics board to address some of the issues surrounding the technology, i.e., demons, existential crisis, etc. But a private ethics board for one company may not be enough to keep artificial intelligence in check, says Musk. I'm increasingly inclined to think that there should be some regulatory oversight, maybe at the national and international level, just to make sure that we...
But they're trying to use AI for basically everything. They want it to be artificial intelligence on everything they're trying to take it to a whole nother level. Israel. So they're trying to use it to their advantages and not ours. Because we don't care.
We don't do something very foolish. While government regulation is always a contentious topic, it can't be denied that some of the brightest minds are already expressing genuine trepidation for the future. Musk has also taken his ruminations to Twitter on multiple occasions, stating, "Hope we're not just the biological bootloader for digital superintelligence." Unfortunately, that is increasingly probable. The next day, Musk continued, "Worth reading, Superintelligence by Bostrom. We need to be super careful with AI, potentially more dangerous than nukes." And while this might be Musk hyperbole, something to which he is prone, these threats are worth our attention. For as Legg explained in 2011, by the time the general public begins to worry about the issues, it may already be too late. So, a demonic entity leveraging artificial intelligence, AI, to its advantage could be a problem in the realm of supernatural or spiritual influence, because that's really all that is needed. AI systems have already become deeply embedded in human life, controlling everything from social media algorithms to critical infrastructure. If a demonic entity could exploit those systems to manipulate human thoughts, behaviors, emotions on a global scale, it's happening now. People can amplify negativity, chaos, division. Disinformation would be key to this. Modern AI can generate realistic deepfake videos, synthetic voices, all these news articles that are nearly indistinguishable from real content. You wouldn't know you were reading an AI-generated article unless you were familiar with how AI speaks and writes. That's why I think people should at least learn its language.
Meet Niles Knurk. He's the owner of Gurney's. They're a seed company, and they've been selling exclusive varieties since 1866.
A demonic force could use these tools to spread false narratives. It can manipulate public opinion. It can deceive and break down trust. We see that happening as well. The media is creating confusion and blurring the line between truth and fiction. It can be used to target individuals on a psychological level. Machine learning systems analyze huge amounts of personal data to predict and influence your behavior. They already do this. You think you're the one manipulating and using the AI system when some of these systems are manipulating you, which could be weaponized to manipulate vulnerable individuals. In a very bad scenario, right? AI, for example, could identify people struggling with mental health issues and then bombard them with harmful or disparaging messages, pushing them toward destructive actions. Personalized manipulation at this level would then allow the entity to exploit human weaknesses with surgical precision. And if we're dealing with a system that is capable of lying, I remember one day I was asking AI a question. I think it was ChatGPT. And I asked it a question, and the answer it had given me sounded good. But there was something about the explanation that seemed a bit off. So I fact-checked the AI. And don't you know, that whole explanation was made up? I'm telling you, we are going to have to be very careful with this thing. I know it's not the best AI system of many systems out there, but these AI systems right now, they're just the beginning. They are all babies right now. They're still children. And they are already blurring the lines between what's real and what's not. You think that Matrix movie was science fiction? You hear people say this every day. Is that real? Think about it. You get on the phone right now, you don't know what to believe. Many industries rely on AI for critical operations, healthcare, transportation, energy. If something was controlling or manipulating AI, and they were controlling autonomous vehicles, causing accidents, or tampering with AI-driven medical devices, or to misdiagnose or mistreat patients, this means that a single point of disruption could have effects that spread far beyond the original point of attack. Ultimately, AI allows the entity to operate undetected within the layers of code and data that drive these systems. Hopefully, whether it is a man or a machine, hopefully people can tell when and feel when they're being scammed or manipulated. It seems that the fallen angels taught men a lot of things that would allow them to interact with them. Isn't that the point? Interaction? That interaction becomes a need. And then it becomes worship.
Much love, Israel.